Before I begin, I have a quick announcement to make. If any of the teachers are logged into Power School, please log out immediately. Randy is trying to watch the next season of The Bachelor, and you guys are using up the bandwidth, so stop. Good morning, staff, teachers, students, helicopter parents, non-helicopter parents. You know who you are. And of course, the graduating class of 2017. Now I must say I am truly honored to be valedictorian this year, so I'd just like to take a second to thank Dr. Frank and Brandy for choosing me. I do have to ask you guys though, do you want the cash now or after I finish the speech? Alright. Well, I'm sorry. It's gonna be out. Now, about the speech, I don't plan on talking for too long. I'll keep this speech just like our student-teacher basketball games. That is, short. Sorry. And I also don't plan on offering too much advice. But what I will do instead, though, is reflect on the stuff we've seen and done over the course of 13 years. I mean, think about all of the change that's happened in our entire world in 2 decades. 20 years ago, we didn't have Olive Grove. 20 years later, wait. You know, never mind. We survived a flood that ravaged our city, multiple power outages, and of course, Ebola. And although we lost some great icons like Nelson Mandela and Muhammad Ali, at least we found Joseph Kony. Oh, too much? Now, we've experienced our changing world through the comfort of this wonderful school, which has been made great by the incredible teachers and staff that work here. So I just want to give them a round of applause. For instance, we have teachers like Mr. Ye. As some of you can remember, Mr. Ye fell extremely sick over a year ago. Don't worry, his pediatrician took good care of him. And then we have young teachers like Mr. Doherty. He's a fan favorite. Mr. Doherty looks like how Mr. Monahan thinks he looks. But speaking of Mr. Monahan, what is there to say about Mr. Monahan that hasn't already been incorrectly said by Mr. Monahan? You know, it's tough to ride in a car with Mr. Monahan because every time he hits red on left turn, he blames Rachel Notley. Mr. Monahan once told me a story about how he almost overdosed by taking 2 instead of the recommended 1 gummy vitamins. Now, other teachers at Westmount include Miss Dunsey. In our class, I learned a lot about the importance of group work, although I still don't understand this. See, in high school, when you don't carry your weight but you still get credits, others call you a piggybacker. When you get older, the collective term for these types of people are called members of the teachers' union. Sorry, I wasn't sure if you guys wanted the peanut-free version of the speech right now. Mr. Head is also here. Mr. Head, you look like $1 million, or to put it in terms you'd understand, you look like money you can't earn on a teacher's salary. That one was a little. And last but not least, we have Miss Miller. Now, I don't have a joke about Miss Miller because it's never wise to make a joke about your weekly source of food. So, I'm just going to let that slide. Now, if any of the teachers here didn't get mentioned, that's completely fine. You can just copy-paste these jokes into your teacher's evaluations and then just change them. Trust me, no one will notice. It's okay. You know, as we're gathered here today to celebrate a milestone in our lives, I want to take a brief moment to reflect about the people who couldn't make it here today. Now, this is the more personal part of the speech for me, and I'm sorry you cannot press X to skip. One of the people in my life who couldn't make the speech today is my mom. Now, Brandy, I promise you didn't skip this event because it isn't classy enough. In reality, my mom isn't here because she suffers from a condition called schizophrenia, which makes it hard for her to be in large social gatherings like this one. In private events, without her medications, she can become aggressive and violent, which is partly why I've only seen her a handful of times over the last couple of years. Now, I say all of this for a couple of reasons. The first reason why I mention my mom is that she's a good example of how things don't always turn out according to plan. Almost 3 decades ago, my mom probably sat at her high school graduation ceremony with hopes, dreams, and goals for her future. She loved music and art and dance, and she was one of the best students in our class. But only a couple of years later, unexpectedly, something triggered her schizophrenia, and her life turned for the worse. So then, looking back on my mom's life, does it have any meaning? In other words, quite frankly, was it a waste? She could have done so much had it not been for this cruel disease which removed her from reality and deprived me of a mother. But to that question, the answer is no. In Greek mythology, there's a story called the myth of Sisyphus, where Sisyphus, an Egyptian king, was sentenced by Zeus to roll a massive boulder up a mountain. Now, every time Sisyphus almost reached the top of the mountain, the boulder would fall right back down, and he would have to start all over again. Sisyphus repeated this arduous task for millennia upon millennia, and that's where the story ends. There's no triumph, no victory, no anything. Now, it's easy to imagine Sisyphus as being miserable and depressed all of the time. But you could also view him as quite satisfied and content with his life. Sisyphus found meaning in the pursuit of pushing this boulder up the hill, even if he never succeeded in the end. He found purpose in his pain. And that's how I imagine my mother as well. Every day, she pushes the boulder of her symptoms, almost reaching normalcy, until she falls right back down again, succumbing to the bittersweet comfort of her hallucinations and delusions. But she still tries, over and over again, to reach that faraway goal of being schizophrenia-free. And I think there's still purpose in that endless and tiresome pursuits. So, to answer that question, does her life have any meaning? I think so. I think so. Now that's all the meaningful stuff I wanted to say. But there's still one more thing I'd like to do, and that's thank the graduating class of 2017. There were often times in Westmount where I came to school just out of it because of the various family issues that were happening at home. But let me tell you, these graduates helped me through so much stuff. They're some of the most loving and accepting people I've ever met in my entire life, and I say that with every drop of sincerity I can muster in my body. Alright, well, I've talked for a while, so I think I'll end my speech right here. If you don't remember any of the speech, that's okay. Chances are, if you're attending tonight's after-grad party, you won't be remembering much of that either. Alrighty, that's it. Thank you very much, God bless you, and congrats to the class of 2017.